So the 8th seed race in the West is sometimes very fun. This year, it's up in the air at the moment. The Grizzlies have a 4-game lead on the Blazers, 5.5 on the Pelicans, 5 games on the Spurs, but I think the Spurs are going to fall out. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games and whatever else. And I feel like I should mention the Suns and maybe even the Kings in all this as well. I mean, those two teams are not super far away from the Pelicans. I just think both of them are not going to win enough, which I know is the most basic thing to say, but it's what I believe. I mean, the Suns they're 3-7 in their last 10, and the Kings, well, to be fair, they have turned it around since Buddy went to the bench, but I'm just programmed to believe something's going to go wrong with the Kings. Maybe that's unfair, but it hasn't steered me wrong too much lately. Although, to be fair, they did spoil my Celtics getting a really good draft pick when they were better than everybody thought they would be a year ago. But yeah, again, I think it's Blazers and the Pelicans are the two main teams. To touch on the Grizzlies real quick, they do have the toughest schedule the rest of the way, but these guys play beyond their years. I mean, Ja and Jaren and Brooks and all these guys, they just seem so ready for the moment, where they don't panic in close games, and they're nearly 500 on the road, which I think shows a lot about just how ready they are to potentially go to the playoffs this season. I mean, in terms of the X's and O's things that could go wrong, I mean, maybe teams will dare Ja to shoot a little bit more. Maybe Jaren Jackson's foul troubles come back. Perhaps Brandon Clark stops shooting 100% on floaters. Maybe the loss of Jay Crowder is a lot bigger than we would expect. I don't know. That's kind of all I have. Like, they are good, and there's a reason that they have this comfortable lead in the 8th seed. The big question here, though, is Dame's injury. Hurt his groin, and then gave a really mediocre All-Star game performance. So, is he going to be ready to go? I don't know. Groin injuries are weird. Terry Stotts does not expect Dame to practice on Wednesday, which is today. So that's not a great sign. Their first game back is on Friday against the Pelicans, so that'll be kind of like the beginning of this official race, if you will, between those two teams. I mean, the Pelicans, even though they've got Zion going nuts right now and stuff, they are still like a little on the outside looking in here, but they do have the easiest schedule the rest of the way, whereas the Grizzlies have the hardest one, and the Blazers' schedule is also pretty easy as well, relative to the rest of the league, of course. So as a result, it does make all this a little more interesting, but again, if Dame's hurt and not ready to go, then that's going to knock Portland out of it. But let's say Dame is ready to go, and he is able to do his normal Damian Lillard thing, which is high 20s, low 30s, potentially mid to high 40s if we want to go off of like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. Then that's going to give Portland a chance in every game. I mean, the roster around him is not good right now. You've got Whiteside, who's Drummond 2.0. You got Melo, who we're happy to see him, but in terms of helping you win games, it's still kind of iffy. CJ McCollum is like a little overrated. Like, I like CJ, and I don't think they should move him, but it's also like, his efficiency is actually not that great. His playmaking, his defense don't really give you anything. And to clarify about the efficiency, while he's great on threes, because he doesn't shoot any free throws, and he trades those in for a lot of two-pointers, the math actually does not like CJ's efficiency that much. Still a good player, and definitely a guy who can hit some big shots to win a game for you, as we saw in that Game 7 against the Nuggets. But in terms of a long stretch where you need everybody to be really good every game to go on a playoff run, or just to get in there, maybe not the best guy for the job. At the same time, as your number 2 dude, it's not as glaring if you have some weaknesses. But I think what the Blazers would need is somebody to kind of emerge, whether that's Nasir Little, who was getting some minutes, or Anthony Simons or Gary Trent or Swanigan, or maybe Ariza just goes nuts from three. I don't know. But I think they're going to need somebody to kind of not come out of nowhere, but step up a little bit for them to really have a chance on this run, which I don't think is crazy. And, maybe they don't. Maybe Dame can just score like 37 a night, and that'll be their way to do it. But again, if his groin injury is going to be bad, then I don't think they've got much of a chance. If we go to the Pelicans, I mean, the difference between them and the Blazers, well, the Blazers have Dame and CJ. The Grizzlies don't have like two big-time scorers. I mean, Ja averages like 17. But with the Pelicans is you're going to get 20-plus probably from Zion and Brandon Ingram almost every game, and combine that with the easiest strength of schedule the rest of the way, then that's certainly nice. Zion and Ingram have played 134 minutes together. They're +7 in that time. Of course, Zion has been a plus-minus god so far. The lineup of Drew, Favors, Ingram, Lonzo, and Zion is +17.5 in 96 minutes, so I think there is a chance in which the Pelicans just kind of blitz teams after the All-Star break, and they just go on a crazy run, because while the roster looked kind of awkward at times this season, everybody's kind of getting into their own. Like, Lonzo's been better, and of course Zion's been killing it, and JJ's still playing well, and I feel like there is a chance that the Pelicans just come out of the break looking like a well-oiled machine, where it seems like they've been playing together for a long time, but they really haven't. I mean, they managed to get back into this season without Zion for a little bit. I mean, at one point they were, 16 games under 500, and now they're 9 games under 500, so it's pretty good. I mean, that's making up 7 games for a team that still has, young dudes who are doing a lot for them, and we think now with Zion, maybe this is their chance to go on a crazy run. I mean, the Blazers-Pelicans game on Friday, that one will be interesting. So yeah, it could be pretty fun, because if the Grizzlies adhere to the fact that they have the toughest strength of schedule going, then maybe there's a chance in the last 7 games of the season or something, the difference between these 3 teams is like 3 games. I mean, that's what we can hope for the sake of giving us something to care about down the end game of the regular season, if you will. But there's also a chance that the gap between the Blazers and the Pelicans is just too much to overcome. If I had to make a prediction, if Dame was totally healthy, maybe I would pick Portland, but because of that, I think I'll predict that the Grizzlies hold on to it, but I do think it's going to be exciting. I would hope that it's not just a runaway for them. Not that I have anything against the Grizzlies. I mean, kudos to Memphis fans. I mean, for your guys' sake, this being a landslide victory for them for the 8th seed would be nice. But for NBA fans at large, it would just be nice to have a thrilling finish to the 8th seed.